For this exercise, I want people to draw this simple background, because what we're going to be doing is animating a very simple, squashy and stretchy character jumping off this cliff, sliding down this ravine thing, and then taking off, maybe doing a one turn and then landing in this dirt here. So once you've finished the outline for that, I'm going to show you how you can paint it very, very quickly. Just before we get into this, I just wanted to remind some people of two important preference settings that you should definitely set up before you start any work. If you go to the preferences, we need to set up this thing. As I move my cursor, you can see that windows are automatically activating themselves and turning red. To avoid the frustration of having to manually click in windows when you're working in that window, which gets tedious very quickly, you can do this. So I'm going to go to the preferences, which on a Mac are here. I think on a Windows machine they're in the file menu down here somewhere. So we're going to go into here, and we're going to make sure that this is clicked. If I just hover there a minute, it's called Focus on Mouse Enter. So just by moving your cursor into a window, it becomes active. The reason for this is that keyboard shortcuts do the same. Keyboard shortcuts do slightly different things in the different windows. So this is Toon Boom Technology's way of getting more mileage out of those keyboard shortcuts. The other thing you might want to activate, in fact I strongly recommend this, is the autosave here. Now on my computer it's set to every 3 minutes. You could probably set that to something smaller like 2 or even 1. It's a really good idea to have this active. (2D) animation is all about planning. So I want some kind of idea of where this character is going to kind of go. So I'm going to create a very simple layout sketch which tries to predict the passage of this character from here to there. So I'm going to add another layer and add a very simple sketch to that by going to here and choosing drawing. I'm going to change that highlighted name from drawing. You should always do this. You should always rename your layers, because they're all called drawing. It gets very confusing very quickly when you've got multiple layers in your timeline. So we could just go add, and then we could add another one, but we'll come back to this in a minute when we add the character layer. So there it is. It's kind of like the layers in Photoshop. The uppermost layer in the stack is the one that's kind of closest to you. And you can also grab your layers and kind of move them around if you don't want it where it is. I'm just clicking and dragging this. So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to choose the red color. So this character is going to be kind of jumping up and then kind of landing in the shape of this thing and following this shape. So that's quite easy. I'm drawing this with a mouse, which is really difficult. Then the character goes up over here and then kind of lands here somewhere. And we might try and get a bit of a kind of a rotation. Maybe going that way. So they go down here, stretching as they go, forming back into a shape enough to that turn might take place over quite this section of the arc, and then they can land on their head or feet or whatever on their side and squash accordingly. Basically what we want is a janky motion path for this character to follow with kind of arcs in it, because we're going to use the what I call the speed painting feature to colour this character in. Okay, so that's why we're doing this exercise. I mean, yeah, we could just use a bouncing ball, but a character makes it a bit more interesting. So the reason this is on its own layer is that it's just easier to just switch it off, because it'll get in the way when I'm animating the character. So I want to be able to hide it and then bring it back when I need it. So that's why this is on its own layer. The next thing we need to look at is the duration of this sequence. If I move this to here, everything disappears because there's only one drawing for everything. So let's just take it to the end to 60 frames. The default duration of a new sequence in Harmony is 60 frames, but you can just grab this and put it wherever you want and have the sequence as long or as short as you want it. So we'll just leave it there for now. So I'm just going to extend the exposure of this layout for the duration of this sequence by putting that there, and now I'm going to hit F5 on the keyboard. F5 snaps the duration of that drawing to wherever you've placed the playhead marker, this thing here. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to click on background, and then I'm going to hit F5 again on the keyboard. Good jump. There we go. So now that's lasting longer. So what I want to do now is I want to add a another layer. You can probably guess what that layer is. So I'm going to go to here again, drawing, and we'll call this character. Like I just said, call things what they are, otherwise things get confusing very, very quickly. Okay, so we can just click there, or we can do the other way of doing this. I'm going to need at least, I don't know, ballpark 22 frames, wild guess. So I'm going to hold down Shift, click to about 22, then I'm going to hit this here, create empty drawing. So this'll add a bunch of empty frames for us to draw in. So if I press that, we've now got 22 frames to play with. And of course, if we get to the end of here and we want to add another drawing, you can just advance this by using the comma and full stop buttons on your keyboard. That's me hitting the full stop. This is me hitting the comma. It takes this backwards and forwards. So this is good for testing animation quickly. You can just hit these two buttons, comma and full stop. Also, I think the F and G keys, yeah, F goes backwards, G goes forward. So you've got two keyboard options there. So G goes forward, F goes backwards, full stop goes forwards, comma goes backwards. So depending on what handed you are, whether you're left or right handed, that could be useful to have that kind of an option. To help you navigate your camera view where you're drawing, there's some great keyboard shortcuts that are very useful. Holding down the space bar on the keyboard turns your cursor into a hand tool, and you can grab it and move it around and look at stuff. If you want to zoom in on a particular area, put your cursor where you want to go, say this area here, and hit N for November on the keyboard. That snaps it to the middle. Then press 2, keep hitting 2 on the keyboard, zooms you in. 1 next to it zooms you out again. So it's really good to be able to zoom in on stuff and navigate and see things closely and then further away. The The scroll, well, I don't have a scroll wheel on my mouse because it's an Apple mouse, but let me just try this other mouse here, which does have a scroll wheel. So yeah, also the scroll wheel on your mouse can zoom you in and out as well. To reset the view, you can hit Shift on the keyboard, holding it down, and then M for mic. And that resets the view. If you want to rotate what you're looking at to attack your drawing from a different angle, hold down Option and Command on the keyboard, and then you'll get this. So then you can just use your mouse to turn your image and look at it from different angles. It also gives you this old-fashioned animation desk icon in the middle to show that that's what's going to happen when you turn it. And again, to reset the view, Shift and M. If you need to remind yourself what those keyboard shortcuts are, they're all in the View menu up here. So zoom in 2, zoom out 1, and so on. Reset the view, Shift M, and yeah, they're all in there if you get stuck. So I've started animating this character. It took about probably 5 minutes to get to this stage. So you can see I've held the first drawing for a few frames. I just kind of drew it here. This is the other thing you can do if you want to extend the exposure of just one drawing quickly. You can just click on that drawing and hit the plus button on the numerical end of the keyboard, which is over on the far right. If I keep hitting the plus button, it'll extend that drawing and make it the exposure last longer. And if I want to reduce it, I can hit the minus key as well. So that's rather useful. So yeah, if I just inch this forward, very simple, squashy and stretchy, doink, 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 doink. But when I got to here, I kind of realized, well, hang on a minute, if I make my character, you know, follow this this kind of layout, this character's not going to be in contact with this, which is kind of what I want. So there's this other cool feature where you can actually move the entire move all the drawings at once. So I'm just going to put that there and use that as the guide, because I want to move everything over a bit to the left before I get too far into the sequence. So to make that happen, I'm going to go up to here and choose Reposition All Drawings. That automatically highlights this, but it also highlights the everything on this layer. So now I'm just going to move this character over because I want it to actually hit the side of this ravine thingy. So you just wait for your cursor to turn into that sort of cross of arrows, and you can move it anywhere. If I deselect that, I just click off somewhere, I'll go back to here, deselect it, you'll now see that everything's moved slightly to the because before that character was actually right on that red line. Now the character's moved over, and now I'm just going to animate this character in the gap between this and that. I actually don't need this for the time being, so just turn it off because it was just a guide. So that's a really cool feature. Yeah, reposition all drawings. It moves everything. Oh yeah, the onion skinning that allows you to see drawings behind where you're working and in front of where you're working is here, this thing here. So this is the onion skin, and so if I just zoom in a bit on this, we've now got these two marker things here. So if I click on that layer so we can see it. So if I move that back to here, we can see all the preceding drawings that I've just been working on. But because of the sketchy, loose way that I tend to work, I tend to limit how many drawings I can see because it can get a bit visually confusing. But we will be using the onion skinning feature to help us paint this character later on. So if there were drawings in front of where we are now, you can extend it. These are devilishly tricky things to get hold of. So if I take this to here and move this green marker forwards, we can see as I do that, the drawings in front. So as you may recall, drawings in front are green, drawings behind are red, and this is where we are now. If you want to copy and paste something, I'd copy and paste the line art and paste that into another frame. I'll show you. If you go to here, if I just draw around that really quickly to select it all, I'm going to press Command C on the keyboard to copy it. And then I'm going to scooch the sequence forward using the G key to an empty frame. I'm just going to hit Command V on the keyboard and just move this down a bit. Let's stretch him out a bit. Good doink. He starts to speed up down here. Also, when you move your cursor near the corner, it turns into that symbol, so you can just rotate things a little bit. There we go. I'll probably replace this with a better drawing. I just wanted to show you, how that works. So if we click off, turn onion skinning off, and we'll just scroll backwards and forwards. Yeah, it's kind of obvious when something's a copy and pasted image. I'll probably redraw that actually. But I just wanted to show you how it's easy to copy and paste the line art onto another drawing. It's better than doing that. It's better than copying and pasting the drawings here. I'd copy and paste the line art. It's more bomb-proof. Okay, a little time lapse and a musical interlude. Well, I scribbled this out. Typically, when I'm working on something like this, I'm working really, really fast, just trying to nail the action. I don't care what it looks like, and this is the way animators work, fast and loose. So yeah. So yeah, what I wanted to do was, after all the squashed action of this character shooting round this U-shaped profile of this ditch or ravine, I wanted the character to take off and kind of spread out again and take on an almost spread eagle look, because apparently turning in the midair does actually make people do that if they are especially unconscious, like a rag doll. Yeah, so think of this character as like a rag doll stroke Baymax character. Yeah, Big Hero 6 is one of my favourite animated films, actually. So yeah, spread eagle, spreading all out. So usually with a bouncing ball, the ball takes on its original shape, but I wanted this character to take on their original form and do this kind of somersault thing. I remembered when I was animating this that I was turning the character the wrong way. That's why you saw me doing some corrective rotation on the drawings in the time lapse, and then having the character kind of crease up a bit with arms and legs kind of folding in a bit, and then a touching one contact kind of drawing there, and then shlumph. So yeah, my original estimation of 22 drawings was pretty much accurate. I mean, yeah, the timing of this is, if I play this at the actual speed, if I just switch off the layout a minute. So if I hit this, it's way too quick, but it doesn't matter. And I think the character needs to land with a bit more of a thump. So once you've got all your drawings, then what you do is you go back in and you start to think about the exposure of your drawings. So it looks like, yeah, it's just a bit too soft. I might just swap that out and just extend that one. Yeah. But anyway, I'll fix this. I mean, I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes because we just want some animation to then paint, okay? So I might just extend the exposure of that. I'm holding down the plus key. There we go. For that last one. So this is rough. It's sketchy. Normally, you would add a second layer, a neat layer, then go over these rough drawings and do like neat versions of them, which you can do for this exercise. But anyway, the next part I wanted to show you is really, really useful for animators, because this is one of the coolest features. It's like the speed paint feature is what I call it, but it's like the paint all feature. So this is the quick paint part. I mean, normally you've done a neat layer of artwork. I'm just going to go with this scratchy line. I'm not going to be able to paint everything because it is really, really rough. So this highlights the necessity for having a neat version of your character line art. Because what we're going to do is we're going to drop the vector boundary that lives in the middle of this line and drop it onto the color layer, which is this one here. So there are two layers for everything that you draw automatically by default without you doing anything extra. So that's the color layer, and at the moment there's nothing on it, and if I zoom all the way in on this, there's nothing there. Because in the middle of this black line is the vector line, and it's like a light blue line. So I'm going to go back to here, reset the view, Shift M, This is the layer where I want to paint. I'm going to add another color. I'm going to hit this and just type this fill color character. Again, call the thing what it is. Character body. But it's going to fill all of the character. So if I go back to here, double click on the actual color, you can pick whatever color you want. This is easier if you click on the hue button here and you can go and pick a color. Oh, I don't know, something that stands out, something orangey. There we go. Yeah, if I was to, with that selected, if I hit this again, it would create another copy of this orangey color. That's quite useful when you want to do variations around a particular, hue or whatever. But anyway, we'll cover that somewhere else. So that's chosen. The next thing I want to do is select all of the line art. I want to select all these drawings together. So I'm going to use the onion skinning for that. So I'm going to hit that. And I'm going to extend this so that we can see all the drawings. That one's repeated, so it only needs to go over the edge. Leave that there. Grab that. That's it. Go to here. Okay, that's all of them. So now we can see the extent of this animation. Okay. I'm going to use the select tool for this, and I'm going to go over here and choose this. I want what I'm about to do to be applied to all the frames I can see there with the onion skinning. So when you choose this one, it chooses everything this way. If there were other bits of this character on layers underneath, I could choose this one here as well. So apply to visible drawing layers. So I could switch off the background and the layout. Say the head was on another layer. I'd hide that. Enable the head layer, and then I could paint down through the layers and along this way through the frame. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to try and draw around everything I can see and select it all. Yeah, so it selected the outline of everything. So now we want to extract the blue vector line from the outline, the black outline. So if I go to here, create color art from line art, I'm going to hit that. We got a little blast of a like a watch symbol, because the longer the sequence is, the longer this can take. I'm going to click off now, disable that. I'm just going to have a look at this one image that's already selected. So I'm going to zoom in again. So this time I'm going to go to the color layer, and now we can see, I hope you can see anyway, I'm just going to leave my cursor there and I'll zoom in. You should see that there's now a blue line, which is now a boundary line that we can fill to. The reason we do all this is because when you've got a textured brush that you've used for your outline, we want the color to go underneath and fill right to the middle of the line. Otherwise, we get this transparent halo effect, which is undesirable. So for instance, if I go here on the line art layer and get the paint bucket, and if I just hit that, can you see that there's a transparent area around here? I'll just zoom in a bit more. There we go. So that's what we don't want. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go to the color layer and do it again. And now the color is going underneath the line into the middle where this boundary is. As I've already pointed out, this sketchy line might look great and fluid and everything, but it's not very good for painting. So adding a second layer and doing like the neat version, like I was saying. So now comes the speed painting part. Okay. So what I'm going to do again is I am going to go back to here. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go here. So I've picked the paint bucket. I've got that. And this is engaged still. Apply to all frames. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, and it won't work properly for everything, but I'm just going to draw through everything. So imagine if this was a bouncing ball. It was quite sort of simple. This would feel a lot better. So I'll probably get all the bodies in this pass and then let go. So it's painted some things there. If I do it again, it's painted some more things. Got some heads there that need painting. Again. Let's try that. Okay. So I'm just drawing through areas that looks like they need painting. So I think that's probably caught a lot of the things we were after. So imagine if this was a neat drawing, how quick this would be. Okay, so let's go back to here. Switch this off and let's see what we've done. Let's use the F key. So yeah, some things haven't really painted, so we just go to here. Draw through that. Okay, there must be a broken vector there somewhere. So that, because that's not filling in and we're still on the color layer, let's zoom in. So I'm going to zoom into here. Yeah, there's just a single vector line. So what we do is we can actually reintroduce the vector art that will enclose that. Hold that down and take it down to the stroke tool. So now I'm going to use the stroke tool, which is a drawing tool, just to draw that in there. And there as well. Go back to the paint and fill that in. There we go. It's kind of filled it in okay. We can live with that. This is a really, really tiny drawing. We can tell by how jagged this is. Go back to here. Use the F key to go back. Yeah, it's missed a few things actually. It's okay. We can live with that. One of the legs is missing. Okay, no problem. Let's go back in. We use the stroke tool again. Zoom all the way in. Let's just draw this leg in quickly. Hello. That's it. Paint bucket. Yeah, there we go. This blue line is invisible when you render this, so I could go crazy with this stroke tool and draw it all over the place, and that will not render. This is hidden from the final render, even if you can still see it when you hit this. So yeah, we can see it there, but when you go to File, Export, Movie, you wouldn't see any of this at all. It's invisible. So that's how that works. So you can see how quick it was to paint in something that's been drawn as rough as hell. So we could probably draw the background in as well. I don't know, some kind of dirt layer. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know what to choose. Some kind of tertiary colour for the ground. Let's go to the background layer. We're going to do the same thing with this. I've actually drawn an extra boundary around this to help me see the extent of what the camera can see. So if I use the select tool, line art mode, if I just draw through all of this just to select it, looks like it's picked it. Drop that down. Because this has been repeated, it doesn't matter where we fill this. Go back to the paint bucket and just fill this. Oh, there must be a gap somewhere. Oh, I didn't drop it, did I? Okay. Oh, wrong layer. You can tell I'm tired, can't you? This is why you should never do anything like this when you're tired. You're in danger of making a mistake. So yeah, we're going to drop the vector onto the layer below. Yeah, there it is. It'll work now. Oh God, that's disgusting. I don't like that colour. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Looks like baby shit. Don't ask me how I know. So now, so the reason I've painted that in is because when you go to here and there's no background, we'll just see black. So the default color of nothing in the rendered world of Toon Boom Harmony is black. So yeah, maybe adding a color card. Maybe I'll do that now actually. So I'll come out of that. So we are going to add a color card. Oh, white's fine. Incidentally, you can change the color of the color card by double clicking on this, clicking on that, and just picking some, I don't know, color like that. Close that. Don't worry about these little boxes. That's just an artifact of the OpenGL render. When we hit this, this is what we actually see. Sure. There's some more work to do with this animation to finesse it, but I haven't got time for that. You guys can take your time and make it look completely awesome, like I know you will. So I hope that this tutorial has helped you to discover some of the features of this animating stuff using the brush tool. This is the best tool to draw with because there are so many more choices. These are customizable as well. You can actually make your own. I've shown you how to copy art into another drawing to reuse it or whatever. I've shown you how to rotate the art. I've shown you how to select stuff. And I've shown you how to drop the vector line from the line art onto the color art layer and use the speed painting feature. So with a bigger character, because I've drawn this super small, with a bigger character with more areas to fill, like a face tone, hair color, clothing, shoes, eyes, etc., which would all be in here, you can actually paint those areas really quickly. Say if we wanted to add like a different color for the head, to avoid accidentally painting this orange color, we can go to here and right click on it and choose protect color. And when a color has got a like a red line next to it, that means you can't actually fill that area, so it protects it from being accidentally filled with another color. So that's really, really useful, particularly with something small like this. Mind you, we'd have to go through and unpaint all the heads if we wanted the head a different color. So just be wary of that. Okay, I'm exhausted, and if anybody's got any questions, just put your hand up, and thank you for your patience.